Hey everyone, welcome to our first episode of Rewrite, the show where we take those movies, TV shows, games that make you just go, what were they thinking? And we reimagine them in our own styles and in our own ways. We're just three amateur film lovers. We do a lot of film projects and things on our own. I've got two really creative, great guys here with me. I'm James. I'm an artist. I love films and stuff as well. You can see a lot of my artwork here on my Instagram. On my right here is Trent.
Hey guys, I'm Trent. I'm really into film. I do a lot of film stuff. That's pretty much it.
And Daniel.
Hey guys, I'm Daniel. Kind of the same. I think, I'm really into film. I like to watch movies, so.
What an apt description of us. We like film.
We like.
Well, it's what it's about. Film and video games. I like those two, sir.
Good.
I like those two.
My bad.
Yeah,
This
you
is
should,
pretty much what
you
it
should feel
is. Just
bad.
people arguing back and forth about how terrible or how good a movie is, and how we can do it better if we could do it better.
Yeah.
So Trent, what's your favorite scary movie
My favorite scary movie would probably
at
be
the moment?
Hereditary. I'll go with Hereditary. Hereditary is a great
Super
movie.
good one. How about you, Daniel?
I think my favorite's probably Scream.
Scream.
The original Scream.
The original
I
Scream.
really like the original Scream, and I'd love to talk about it, but I think maybe we should save it.
Maybe on a future episode we will. But for tonight, we are doing a scary movie since it's the Halloween season. We're doing Halloween itself. The very first Halloween, 1978.
78.
John Carpenter,
Yep.
Jamie Lee Curtis, all those great people. So we're going to go back and forth and debate a little bit here. Is Halloween actually a good movie, or is it just sort of this classic that's in our head as a staple scary movie? So what do you guys think? Let's start with Daniel's side
ahead
of
and
it.
take it.
How do you feel about Halloween?
Okay. So I think it's good. I really think, for the most part, its flaws come off as charming. I think, it's definitely old. It's dated. There are a few things I would change. For one, I think the audio is bad. A lot of the sound effects are bad.
Stabbing watermelons.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were doing.
Yeah. I think the shots of Michael, if you've ever seen it, where it's kind of an over-the-shoulder shot and he's just kind of stalking them, I think those are overused. I like how it holds on that for a bit when they use those, and I think it does a good job kind of setting the mood or the tension, I guess, in the scene, but I think it's overused, and like the 20th time it happens, it loses its effect.
Yeah.
I think there are other small things like the dialogue and kind of just the characters are bad for the most part. Like 95% of the characters are bad.
It's totally bad.
Totally
The
bad.
girl.
Totally.
But, again, I think for the most part, it kind of establishes the genre of the slasher for what it is. It does a lot with the budget it had, which was small.
Really small, yeah.
And I really like the theme. I like kind of the whole aesthetic, I guess. But I think it's a classic. I don't know if that's like a logical argument to have, but I think it's a classic. I think you have to accept it for what it is. And for the most part, I think when you watch a movie like this, because it's 50 years old at this point, you just kind of have to adjust your expectations for what it is, and enjoy it for what it is.
So you're kind of on the side that it's just sort of dated, but overall it's fundamentally a good movie.
And I think
good filmmaking decisions went into it.
Yeah, for the most part. It's got its flaws, but I think, it was a big deal and it was influential on, the genre as a whole, and I think it's enjoyable still. So
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Definitely influential on so many scary movies that came out.
Oh, yeah.
Whether that's, in your opinion, for the better or worse. Trent, how about you? What do you think?
Okay, I, unlike Daniel, do not think this has... I think this has bad insides and a bad framework. I think you should just kind of, as like a pumpkin, just like take everything and just, keep the face of Michael Myers, keep Michael Myers as the bad guy, the antagonist. and that's about it. Keep Laurie Strode as the main character. But let me talk about the actual film for a second. So it's a completely ridiculous film. It's dated in all the worst possible ways, but I really don't think that's the downside of it. I think the budget was the main holdback. I don't think age has as much to do with it as people would think. I really think the fact that it had $325,000 for a budget, which for film is stupid cheap. That's like ridiculous.
So cheap they painted fake leaves and reused
Yeah.
them, gathered them again for every shot.
Wild.
Yeah.
But that is a big drawback because you're losing people, you're losing time, you're losing editing time, you're losing a lot of stuff there because of that holdback. But it was also not the best plot, not the best writing, not the best acting, and just not the best cinematography. It was just a lot of stuff that weren't necessarily bad, but a lot of mediocre stuff, making it just dragging it down. Like 1 or 2 would be okay if it excelled in another spot, but it doesn't. So I think you should get a more stylistic with the cinematography, and that would probably aid into it a lot. Spend a bit longer planning out the shots, and I get your time crunch, but I still think there would have been a way. I think you should focus on Laurie Strode and her family being the main characters, and then Michael he shows up out of nowhere and wants to kill everyone. And granted, that's a pretty basic plot, and like, why is a serial killer killing people? But who cares? No one cares in this movie. He doesn't really have a reason in the original. Why does he need one in another one?
He just kind of kills any teenagers that's sleeping around sort of thing.
The most anti-sex Halloween movie. It's ridiculous. But I think the acting is over the top, and maybe let's tone that down. Let's make the characters likable. Let's give the doctor some more time on screen and give him more lines like this child was pure evil. More stuff like that. That's cool. I like hearing about that. Let him tell more stories about Michael in the asylum. Let Laurie, get stabbed instead of him blatantly missing just to keep her alive.
Yeah.
And let's have Michael like be sprinting after people in the beginning, and then an officer, he murders a police officer, and maybe or he has a boiler uniform. Maybe let's show the fight where he gets that, and the guy pulls out like a metal pipe or something and bashes his kneecap in, and now Michael's like, now I have to go slow. There's motivation behind it. It explains a bit more. There are things you can explain, or things you should explain, and things that don't matter as much. And I think, if you're gonna have him go slow, I think you should explain it a little.
Okay.
So
I kind of want to hear Daniel's side of that. If you were gonna change something about Michael, the villain himself, what would you change? What would you do to make him better?
Oh, I don't know. I don't feel like there's really a whole lot to work with him. He's kind of just what he is, right?
So you like the slow stalking kind of?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it works a lot better when he's going slow, not because he has to go slow, but because he wants to go slow, right? Like, it's almost this weird, like, inhuman, like, strut, he's got, if that makes sense. Because, I mean, in my mind, if he's sprinting after, the girls or whoever he's trying to kill, then, that seems much more like, a human thing to do. Like, he's very much just a guy who wants to kill someone.
Okay, but like, picture this. He's inhumanly sprinting after someone. Get out
Insanely
style.
fast.
Yeah.
Like 30 days or whatever?
Yeah.
30 days later?
28 days later.
28 days later, that's it. My bad.
But yeah, picture that, and picture Laurie Strode going to that. I have goosebumps now.
I don't know. I feel like if they done that, it risks being, I don't want to say cheesy,
Yeah,
because
'cause
it's
it's
definitely
definitely not.
cheesier that he goes slow, but kind of too much, I think, right? Like, imagine within the context of the other scenes, there's just this scene of him like mad sprinting at somebody. I don't know. To me, there's something scarier about the idea that he's going slow because he knows sooner or later, eventually, he's going to catch all the people he's after, right? Like, if he's sprinting, it kind of implies that he thinks there's an urgency about it, right? But, see, he's so confident. He knows eventually he's going to get them all. And you can run and you can, like, drive or hide or jump or whatever you want to do, but eventually, like, he's going to get there.
There's no escape.
Yeah, like, he's just going at his own pace.
Okay, so that's all just part of the suspense building for you.
I think so.
All right. Okay.
And the mystery of it, the allure of Michael Myers.
And you're all for the cheese in the movie as
Absolutely.
well.
I think it adds so
Where
much
Trent is
charm.
lactose intolerant in this occasion. He does not like. You didn't like the ghost, the bedsheet ghost.
Yeah, I like to
Mom?
picture that the prankster Michael Myers, he was about to go upstairs and he was like, you know, it'd be funny, and he grabs a bed sheet and just starts cutting eye holes, and he's like, okay, now I can surprise her.
But wait,
What if she doesn't know I'm
It
supposed
needs
to
a
be
little-
the boyfriend? I'll take his glasses so she knows for sure. What is this movie?
well, he's pinned up to the wall.
Actually,
as well,
a
yeah.
comedy. But, I mean, the funniest scene, hands down, is the tombstone in the bed. I mean, like, come on. Are we supposed to expect he carried that in, killed her, and then walked out of the room, picked up the tombstone, walked back in, and positioned her like that? Like, it's crazy. It's kind of over the top. It's cheesy. It's dated, I guess, in a little kind of bit of a dumb way. But, I mean, like, it's fun.
It does.
And
It has
that's
its
what
moments of fun. I will agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think it suffers too much from just indulgence in the wrong ways, especially with the music.
I think a lot of your
Oh, yeah, we haven't
statements
even
are
talked
fun.
music yet. Yeah, let's talk about the music part of it. We talked a little bit about some of the story and the characters in it.
Yeah.
What do you think of the music score?
I think it's bad.
It's bad.
I think it's iconic, and I think the main. I think that should stay, but like change it up. It gets old the 9th time I hear it.
True. Okay. Any thoughts on that, Daniel, as well?
I really like the theme. I really like the
Of course
film
you
score
do.
as a whole. I understand you think it's repetitive. I think that's a valid statement. But at the same time, it might be like the most iconic, memorable, standalone, one-off song in any film score. Like even,
Yeah.
like think of good film scores like Star Wars, right? Definitely far beyond this, but there's no one song in Star Wars that's as iconic as the Halloween theme, right? Like, and I know.
Okay.
Wait. Hang on.
That's-
Hang on. I know it's comparing apples to oranges.
They're
I
both
know,
fruit.
and I know.
No, it's comparing
Musically, Star Wars is far beyond it, but this may have been a bad analogy, but
No,
I'm
John
gonna stick
Carpenter
with
is
it now.
just on par with John Williams. I agree.
I'm joking, but I do think he's good. But anyway, now my point is like, of any standalone single song in like film and film scores, like the Halloween theme is one of the most iconic. And yeah, it gets repetitive. Yeah, they play it all the time, but that's kind of why it became such a memorable theme, because it's drilled into your head, like you can't forget it. And it can be a little overplayed, but I think it's such a good song for setting kind of the tone and the mood of what the original film was. I like it, and I think it suits the movie as a whole. And for I think it's
I
iconic.
see what you're saying. I just want more variety. I wanted him to change it up. I wanted to put a little bit more work into the score besides the 2 songs they used throughout the movie.
I respect that,
Right.
but there were time constraints, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. But I like how we're kind of breaking it down into categories like this. How we're taking, one aspect of the movie at a time. So let's do that a little bit more. So if you guys had to give me a number on a scale of 1 to 10 for the story, just story aspect of the movie, what would you give me, Daniel?
The
10,
plot?
10, yeah, the plot. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst.
If I'm being generous, I would say the plot's a 6.
A 6? What about you, Trent?
I'm gonna give the plot a solid 2.
A 2. All right. How about cinematography wise, Daniel? You talked about the shots and stuff a little bit. What would you rate it?
So I think Trent made a good point. I don't think they're super creative or unique or
Stylistic,
stylish, but I think there are a couple super good shots in there. I think overall I'd give it probably a 7, a 7.5 maybe.
Cinematography for you?
I would give it a 4. Yeah, a 5. I'll be nice and give it a 5 because it's a lot of it isn't bad. It's just not creative.
Mhm.
Like a lot of it is well lit, and they're using like daylight, and it's just plain and boring, and it's like they lit it well, but they didn't make it creative or interesting to watch.
Mhm.
You know, there was no intrigue, there was no interest there for visually until Michael's on screen murdering people.
Okay.
So
Music? 5. So music for you? What's your number?
I'd give it a 9.
A 9 for your
A 9
music?
for
Very
music.
generous of Daniel. Yeah, Trent.
I'm sorry. I know it's unpopular.
What number are you gagging up over
I
there?
am gagging up a solid 2, my friend.
Another 2.
Another 2.
All right. And then maybe last one, acting.
Oh,
Actual acting in it.
um,
Kind of just overall, no one particular, but
4.
average of 4. Okay.
Interesting.
Are you gonna go higher?
I'm gonna go
on this one?
higher.
Ooh,
I'm gonna give it a 5
slightly higher.
because I feel like, you know, you have the Doc Donald Pleasance,
Mhm.
and he's good. Like he's good. It's bad writing, but the acting itself is pretty good. And Jamie
Mhm.
Lee Curtis is great. I love her. She's
Yeah.
awesome. So I like her. And the sheriff is all right. I guess he's not really in it a whole lot, but
Yeah.
he's fine.
And it's just everyone else for you that brings it down. The other teenagers
It
and little
totally
kids.
brings it down.
Totally brings
Yeah.
it down.
I agree with what you said, but I don't know. I don't feel like the 2 or 3 good actors in the film bring it up enough to justify all the bad side characters.
The side stuff.
But I still
Okay.
like the movie. I don't think it's necessarily.
All right, so just to wrap things up then, if you guys could change, if you could only change one single thing about the film to make it better, what would you change? What would you rewrite?
I think it's kind of what I touched on before. I would kind of maybe change some of the scenes where it's like an over-the-shot shoulder of Michael, and instead opt for more of I don't want to say like a subdued approach, but maybe he's just like he crops up in the background more, right?
Mhm.
Or maybe there are certain scenes where the characters are like, you know, kind of doing their own thing, and if you pay close attention to the extras in the background, you know, there might be some like kind of weird stuff in the
Like
background.
in-
You know,
yeah.
it's-
Like
not
in,
like
like,
it,
Like an It or
yeah, like
House
in
on
it
the-
in the library and
House on the
stuff.
Hill, that show.
Oh, the Haunting of Hill House.
Hill House, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
That one.
stuff like that.
Okay, how about you, Trent? One single thing that you could change to make it better,
I
to
would
save the movie.
one thing. I'm gonna go with let's make Michael fast in the beginning and have him get into the fight with the boy. I like that idea
Give
a
him
lot.
a reason to.
Yeah,
be
I
Okay.
want motivation for him. I think that would aid it in a little bit more, and you know, give him like a head injury or something. Then he can be dizzy, I guess. Just make it a little more coherent.
All right, guys. So then, one last question for you: would you go for Halloween? Would you go full rewrite, no rewrite at all, or keep kind of the main structure of the film, but maybe pick and choose some of the guts out from here and there and rewrite those small parts?
Personally, full rewrite.
Full rewrite for you.
Full rewrite. I'd keep Michael Myers. That'd be what I'd toss everything out, and as it was leaving, I would grab Laurie Strode and Michael Myers.
Yeah, just keep the
Maybe the
bones of
doctor,
it there,
too.
but everything else.
Yeah.
How about you, Daniel? Full rewrite, no rewrite, or somewhere in between?
I think I'm somewhere in between, and no rewrite. I think I'd err on the side of no rewrite though, just because I don't feel like we should mess with the history of movies. But
Okay.
maybe just me.
All right, guys, there you have it. That's our rewrite of the film Halloween from 1978. Let us know what you think in the comments below. What would you rewrite about the film? And also give us ideas for future projects to take on.
Movies, games,
yeah.
TV shows, animated or not.
Yeah,
anything.
all sorts of things. We would love to hear what you guys have in mind, what you would like to see our ideas on.
Yeah, feel free to go down to the comments, leave a comment, a like, and have a discussion of your own. How do you think it should be changed, or how do you think it should stay the same? And
Yeah, we would love
we'd
to.
love to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, subscribe to our channel. Follow us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Help us on
support us
Patreon.
on our Patreon.
Yes, please. We'd love to make better episodes.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Gosh.
All right, thanks, guys. See you next time.
Later.
Bye.